Reminisce, reminisce, reminisce.
When your dreams come true.
Break it down for him. Break it down. Break it down. Here we go.
Hey.
Man, every time, man. Every time. Reminisce, man. Bringing it back, man. Carrying the traditions of Sankofa. Sometimes you got to go back and collect what we may have forgotten. It's a Reminisce Show, man. Every Tuesday, 7 p.m., where we build on hip hop, the culture, things to push us forward, things that we need to address, and we all come from a place of love. So yeah, man, that's what's up. That's what's up.
That's what's up,
Yes,
man. You know it, man. You know it. So how you doing, though? How you feeling today?
I'm doing well, man. Today was a beautiful day. Like the weather was incredible. Like I was just walking around downtown, man, just feeling the vibe. So it must have been like at least like 15 degrees outside earlier. I'm not sure, man. It was blazing. At least for what it is, and doing really well. That last week we for SFA, like some of our school stuff that we're doing, we were able to go into a school in person for the first time since like the pandemic pretty much like did its thing, and it's been really cool to come back and connect with the students. So it's cool. I got some footage, coming up. I'll probably share that for like next week and whatnot, because it's still all hip hop and just the way of like creating spaces for conversations and why it's like so important. So everything we do, whether it's a podcast, whether it's in schools, like on the street, in an alleyway, like whatever, like creating spaces for conversations is crucial. So I feel up, man. I'm feeling good, man. Like
that's awesome, yo. I love to hear that. I'm so happy you got to do that. I'm so happy you're continuing to do that, because I mean, I can't think of a more important platform than like Stolen from Africa in the schools. It's like, this is the ultimate lesson, and I love to hear when you progress that way. So big up.
Non-stop, man. Much blessings, much love, man. Respect, brother.
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm just taking a little little breathing room rest nap. Rest. Breathing room rest nap. All the mash up in my brain. Things are good though. Things are changing. Definitely, I can feel like you feel like you're at the crossroads and you're like, I just got to be patient. Shout out to I had a beautiful angel of a friend do a tarot reading on me yesterday, and it gave me some real good insight. And the universe is just being like, you're almost at the end of this chapter. Keep working, keep hustling, do you, and just stay focused. So I needed that. Like,
that's always a blessed perspective. Like every now and then I don't mind getting like a tarot card reading or like an astrology reading. I think these are all like useful like tools, because I think that there's part of our lives that we create, but there is a certain flow that's already in motion, and I think it's the combination of like free will plus knowing that, then we can like figure out something that's meaningful and intentional.
Absolutely.
But it's all taking things with a grain of salt, like just like with everything, like including like for me, religion and other schools of thought. Like I take I take what I need. You know what I'm saying? Like what I mean? Like whatever resonates, right?
That's really it. Like it's not like we're puppets on a string and like we have no control of our fate. But it's not like we have 100% control of everything in our entire destiny, and universe, and life. So like exactly what you said is right. Just having this honest respect for the balance between the two, and knowing that there are forces bigger than us, but also like we are not weaklings that are nothing in our life and that get blown around by the winds of fate. It's like we have control, and we so we gotta just honor that and then have faith as we move forward. So
that's it, man. That's it. That's all, man.
I'm feeling good. And to be honest, sometimes art is feeling pretty good to me these days. Like I always, until like KRS-One was talking hip, like We need hip hop cities and hip hop doctors and hip hop hospitals and hip hop, like he said, hip hop police in a different way, not like the way we have hip hop police now. But KRS-One was talking like the big ultimate dream, like hip hop needs to own a city and we need to own property and we need to own like architecture and stuff like that, and we need to have like a. I'm like, yeah, that's the like the ultimate dream. I love that. And, like,
yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I well, go ahead. You can say
so I was
your
just
point.
saying, yeah. So the end of the point is just saying, like, we could always do better personally, and then culturally, and then universally. But I always feel like in the culture, like, we do good things here and there, like Jay-Z, a little bit with the NFL. I want to see him do more, but we have the Super Bowl thing that just happened as a one step forward, but we can always build more. And like Stolen from Africa it's the perfect idea. Like the grand mission is to heal the community. So I'm just saying, I've seen a few good things lately, but we could do more.
Yeah, just to add to that, the idea of having like a hip hop like city, or we need hip hop doctors and lawyers and this and that. To be honest, I feel like that exists. It just may not be in the prominent way that KRS-One is describing, where it's just like branded as such, where it's just like, oh, that's the hip hop community. No, like you have to understand, like hip hop is a universal language. You know what I mean? It's a universal culture, especially more than ever. So you have people who like grew up, listening to hip hop in the 90s and whatnot, and are now in these like professional positions. Like, I go to schools now and I'm having conversations, with teachers about like Far Side and like Tribe Called Quest and Public Enemy and whatnot. And these are like straight up like white teachers, live in the suburbs, but they know their stuff. And it's and that's just like one example, but there's many examples. And when I see how hip hop has like moved in certain spaces, it makes it easier for someone like myself to show up. And then there's that recognition. This is like, okay, they understand like the knowledge elements and whatnot. So people like that who grew up with the consciousness, because as we know, like hip hop is much bigger than the music. It's a lifestyle. It's the consciousness, the way of life, all of that stuff. And that exists in different ways. Like there's police officers, and we know this from time, like police officers be reciting, hip hop lyrics and whatnot, and support, but they're still like in a certain industry, if you will,
I understand the complication of what you're saying. Like, it's not to take away any of their authentic hip hop creativity, because it's not like the person that like before he put on a cop uniform, it's not like he wasn't a b-boy or like an MC or a DJ or something. And he's like, yo, I'm a cop now, I'm trying to feed my family, but it like goes back to the court and sees some kids DJing, and he's like, yo, I can DJ, and like gets on there and they're like, yo, look at that cop, he's like bust a backspin, or like he can really DJ, or like all these cops that you see them rapping and stuff, you're like, yo, he actually knows how to rhyme, like obviously used to rap before. But it's like not to, that it complicates it a bit. Be like, yo, honestly, like, how the fuck can y'all run up in clubs and like be a hip hop cop, but like, like fucking be a long arm of the law for Babylon? But I'm just saying, I know what you're saying about like doctors and teachers and stuff like that, and that is a wonderful point to bring up as far as a language that you can both communicate on. I'm not even taking away from that. I love to see all that. I'm just talking about the grand vision. And like,
for sure,
I don't know if I'll even see it in my lifetime, hell. But like, I give props to KRS-One for even saying this, and like, KRS-One's not even trying to make it happen himself. It was just a beautiful idea that he threw out. But I think what he was saying was like the idea of unionized hip hop, like the idea of like, and like hip hop still hasn't even done it itself, not even in the in music industry, much less in any other industry. So like we barely own anything. We don't own our own distribution. So yeah, but like, I mean, we've got the hip hop museum. I don't want to sound too critical, but like there are reasons to dream and whatever. Like,
I definitely don't want to shoot down no dream. Like I think like we need to be thinking, like on larger levels, or and grand scales and whatnot. And that's beautiful, because now, once a dream is out there, an idea is out there, now it's like the how. And maybe for some people it may not be like realistic or whatever, but that's besides the point. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things that have been invented and created that weren't realistic, but it happened. You know what I mean?
That's it. Exactly. It's like at some point we're like, how the hell we gonna get on the moon? It's like, yo,
yeah. It's like that's not realistic. Like when you think like from like a, you know what I'm saying? Like that's not realistic.
Yeah, exactly. Humans can't walk on the moon. Never.
Right.
Yo, man, we did that 55 years ago. Like, so if we can do some shit. Like, yo, we're walking on Mars right now. You're like, yo, like at some point we might walk on Venus and Neptune.
Who knows? Yeah, or maybe other dimensions and other like Earth-like planets with other species and stuff, man. Hey, anything's possible. You know, why not?
Anything's possible. Exactly. It's like the only thing that makes it not possible is not believing that it can happen. So, I mean, I'm saying, to be honest, I'm saying all of this to say this. I'm pretty sure my end game tangent for when I was bringing all this blather up that I was saying is I wanted to talk about Atlanta. The reparations episode.
So for those who don't know, can you give like, I guess like a little, maybe a little summary vibe of what Atlanta is? Because there's so much like TV series out there right now that are like phenomenal. But like, how would you kind of like describe like Atlanta as a series?
Yeah, it's pretty dope. It's starring Donald Glover as like one of the main characters. He directs a few episodes, but he doesn't really direct all of them, but he definitely is involved in it.
Right.
And I think it's this Asian dude named Hiro or Hiro. I'm fucking up his name. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I should have. But like it's this Asian brother and Donald that mostly do the directing of this show. And the show is based on generally in Atlanta, and it's based on Donald Glover being a manager to a rapper. And the rapper's name is Paperboy. Paperboy is played by Brian Tyree Henry, who's really dope. And then they have like another homie who like also helps out doing business as Lakeith Stanfield. And then they have like Zazie Beetz there as just like she's friends with them, and she like it's all four of them, and they have adventures. So it's mostly about Paperboy being a rapper coming up in the adventures that they get into in Atlanta. And they go to Europe for season 3, and right now is the beginning of season 3, and it's just like, yo, Black Americans in Europe, which
that's kind of like an interesting outlook that you don't really like hear about. You know, that's but I like that. That sounds really interesting. Okay.
Yo, they've already done a few things. I'm like, yo, I've never really seen that before. That's a urgent. Yo, they had I'm not gonna ruin. Definitely not a lot. This isn't.
Yeah, please, man. No.
I'm not gonna ruin anything. I'm just gonna say one thing that it's kind of obvious, but like they do something really dope. I'm not gonna ruin what they do with it, but they have you know that blackface shit.
Okay.
Yeah, that,
so
you know that I don't know.
Shows.
Yeah, it's not Père Noël. It's that fucking whatever Nick, whatever. No, it's not Nick. It's that Black Santa shit that they have. You know, the blackface minstrel shit that they in Europe.
Okay.
Yeah. So like
Pete. You're talking about Pete.
Yeah. Whatever Pete thing. Yeah.
They try to be on some like, oh, it was just some guy who like went down the chimney and was covered in charcoal. Like, full man, that's blackface, man. You can't. Like, I don't care what anybody's. That's blackface, man. Don't even try that. Don't even try that.
Don't even try. Wipe that shit off. Don't fuck with me. Yeah. So they have a moment with that will drop your jaw. But I'm saying
I have to say that. But hold on. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's phenomenal TV. But like. They have a bunch of episodes, and it's just the adventures of these 3 or 4 people being black and floating around. It's dope. But they also have the occasional one-off episode where they just have a different issue, and they have a different story that they just explore. And they did the reparations issue. They did it.
Reparations? What do you mean reparations? Like what? They're handing out 40 acres and a mule? Like what are you talking about?
They did it, bro. They did it. What would it be like if reparations happened in America?
Okay, just stop right there. That is a nice thought. I'm gonna have to do the knowledge and go back and check it out. I don't want to hear. What you got here? Is this
so they have a trailer for it. I'm not gonna ruin it. It's a
trailer for the episode.
Yeah, for real. And you don't even have to watch any of the other episodes. This just came out last week, and this is a standalone episode. There's no other characters in it that are involved in the show. This is just a one-off. They're telling the story, and it's called. Of course, like come on. It's called The Big Payback. Like that's just. It's obvious.
All right, well, put the volume up. I want to hear this. I'm all ears.
So yeah, check this. We can just talk about what they show because
for sure. Let's go.
What is this about?
Your family owned my great-great-grandmother and father for 12 years. You owe me money.
They can look you up and force you to pay.
This concerns all of us, Willie.
No, don't. That was just they didn't give nothing.
That's really, 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 really interesting. It's funny because it's not funny, but funny in the sense that I've thought of these concepts before of just like the idea of when it comes to reparations or just finding the people involved. A lot of us as Black folks. Of African descent and whatnot, we have European last names. My last name's Donaldson. You know what I mean?
My last name's Stewart. My last name's Stewart, bro.
So for me, it's it's like the ultimate receipt. You know what I mean? You can't say that it didn't happen. So it's you tell me how we got these names. You know what I mean? It's you tell me. You tell me. I don't know. You tell me. Right, so it's the ultimate. It's what's your evidence? What's your case? It's my last name. It's
just pull out your birth certificate.
No, super facts, yo. But it's interesting though. That should be, you know what I mean, and maybe it's not specific families or whatever. I mean, which would be interesting to figure out the exact connection, just how the person there was your family owned mine for 12 years or whatever. But when we look at it from like a country standpoint, you know what I mean, of countries who were able to benefit all this, it's you know what I mean, it's America got to handle the business, Britain, you know what I mean, y'all man, that British flag is everywhere, yo.
yeah and it's it's been long enough. Y'all thought we weren't coming to collect. Actually, to be honest, if y'all collected off us, y'all stolen us short-term, long-term, and mid-term, and y'all justified it. Y'all justified it in your fucked up ways and your whatever ways, and with guns and with legal this and the government and whatever. We are done. We're done. Japanese have gotten reparations. Indigenous people have gotten reparations. You don't charge Indians tax on this land. There's other versions of reparations that have happened in history. Jews got reparations. It's time for the African person. I don't know if it'll happen in my lifetime, but I'm hoping that it does. And it's not even to say that I get it myself. I'm fuck, it should just happen for the fucking people of Africa. Right. Period. Fuck, if it comes my way because I am a descendant of Jamaica and Jamaica was directly fucking affected by it, and then I've been to Jamaica and fucking seen the scars of fucking slavery actually affect it. If I get money, if not, but it's still reparations need to happen. I'll be saying that shit to my last fucking breath. But for people who are watching and whatnot, reparations may not necessarily just be monetary, but it could be certain sustainability, and that could look in various ways, certain resources, certain opportunities for development, for healing, you know what I mean, I don't have any specifics, but I'm just saying it's a broader scope. People think, okay, well here's a couple million, then we're done. It's no, we need no, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no you don't get a 300-year-old country built for free off 350 years of free labor. You've taken 20 million of 30 million, maybe 50 million. You don't even want to tell the numbers of how many Africans you took, dragged here, made them build America, literally built everything, cotton fields, everything. Didn't give them any money. You didn't pay them. You didn't give them any land. You didn't give them no money. You just let them just wallow here under your bootstrap, period. And that's exactly where we're at today. So, like, yeah, you owe money, you owe trillions, but, like, yeah, you owe emotional healing, you owe schooling healing. Like, there's, like, no education to be paid for African people for the next 100 years. You need, like, social healing. For sure, this isn't just money, but, like, money's a start. But, like, there's all this, you're right, there's all this psychological.
I think, stuff like, no, I mean, there's a lot of religious healing. I think, like, you know, some of the necessities, you know what I mean? Where it's like the necessities of life is something that's just like, you know, out of the equation. You have to think about that. Now you can really figure out on healing and rebuilding and whatnot. But this actually goes into another conversation that I saw online. And it was about that Canada, how would I frame it? So Canada is going to be making it illegal for people to downplay the Holocaust and I think something else like the Holocaust and some other aspect of Jewish culture, any kind of like anti-Semitic type of like language is going to be made illegal. And you know, I mean, I don't know if it's official, but I know it's in the talks. But you know, what's interesting to me is that it's. I mean, you know what? To be real, like I'm for it. However, we just need to add to that list. You know what I mean? Because this is something that I've thought about. You know, during the time of like George Floyd and all these, you know, things that were happening within the community, you know, like real straight up anti-Black racism, no accountability, so on and so forth. And I saw it as like a way like, hell, if they made being racist or prejudiced, like, you know, like illegal, meaning you can be charged, like it's a criminal offense. You can be you could be charged as a convicted racist. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, that's sick.
It's like, yo, he's a convicted racist. Like, you know what I mean?
Yo, that is a really...
So what I'm saying is that, like, you know, you in place that as law, right? Because the vast majority of people want to be law-abiding citizens. How do I know this? I know this because, like, you know, when we look at cannabis, you know what I mean? Like 5 years ago or however long it became like legal or whatever, you know, people had all kinds of things to say, you know what I mean? All kinds of things to say about Rastas, Black people, so on and so forth. Now, everybody and their mom is doing like ganja yoga and all kinds of things. Why? Because it's legal now. Now they're not breaking the law, right? So if they were to have these things in place, I agree, you know, like no anti-Semite language, but also let's include indigenous, let's include, you know, Black and all Palestinians, like everybody else who like you typically see as like, you know, there's this tension. It's like, yo, all of that's locked off. You know what I mean? Because nobody wants to be a convicted racist, you know? So
you're absolutely right. And like, I totally agree with that. I was misinterpreting what you were saying slightly because I thought you were talking about how in America they're trying to ban critical race theory, quote unquote, which is like,
oh, that's a whole other topic. No, I get the
exactly. Which is like, it's like, oh, I'm like, oh fuck, they're trying to do that here too. So I was I was like, so
America, they have to because it's the gateway to accountability, and they have to like do anything they can to shut it down. America is built off it. Like it's, you know, they're actually acting like in their logic, if you will, even though it doesn't make any sense, but it's like,
for sure.
I expect them to do that. I expect them to protect like their ignorance and their like colonial thinking. You know what I mean? It's not a surprise. It's like, of course.
You're right, because like, that's just another one of the steps that it takes towards like full reconciliation. Like you don't even want to apologize. So like obviously you don't want to apologize. So you don't want to like teach your children about it because time has gone on and like your generation doesn't want to talk about it or apologize for it or take responsibility for it. And now we have a whole new generation of like young, queer, whatever, different liberal, open-minded people using the internet, whatever, could just type up whatever, be like, yo, what the fuck happened in 1800? This is crazy, yo. Oh my God, I'm just discovering about Black Wall Street. That was fucked up.
Right.
And then it's like, yo, we can't talk about critical race theory. We can't talk about like white people, like slave masters being like horrible people by nature. Be like, we can't talk about that. We're just like delete that. Like, fuck y'all, man. Like,
yeah,
it's just fact. Swallow the fact. Like, we're not even racist talking about it. It's a fact.
But that's exactly it. Like, one thing that I've always said when it comes to these, like, sensitive or topics that get people, like, defensive or like frustrated or whatever, is that like, we just need like a non-biased account of history. Like, just lay it all out and just leave it on the table and just leave it. Don't touch it. Matter of fact, nobody touch it. Nobody. Just leave it and just look at it, and look at it for a long time. Okay, that's it. You know what I mean? And then you'll understand certain things and what's in place and whatnot. But anyways, there's a lot of work to be doing, but this is exactly what Stones from Africa is all about, man. We create spaces for these types of conversations all day, every day. And hey, it's fun to me, man. I like it. I like putting that spark in people's heads where they're just like, yeah, something? I didn't look at it that way. I'm like, hey, that's all we want. Just to shift perspectives and just to create, some type of harmony, man. But anyways,
man, that was mostly been on my head. How about you?
What's up? Oh, like I mean, with Will Smith and whatnot. Like I know that people are talking about him being banned. I mean, and this kind of connects to what we're talking about in a way, because race does play factors in a lot of things, and as we already know what happened, Chris Rock and what have you. But now some new information has come out, which is he's banned from the Oscars for 10 years. But not only that, a lot of like films and endeavors that he had in the works, like it was a list, like I think there was at least like 10 items of like big things. Right. All of this. And again, like I don't quote me on this. It's just what I've seen online. I don't know, maybe it's not official, but I think it's definitely, considering the events, it looks like all these things are just, not going to be happening. So it's almost like Will Smith's his golden ticket, his golden key now has come to like a halt.
I mean, it has to be on pause, because there is no until we're in the world where it's like, hey, it's been 3 or 4 years since Will Smith put out a movie. Then it'll be like, yo, that's really whack. But like, like right now, it seems to be like the echo of the fallout from the attack. And like, of course, all the companies are going to be like, yo, we're going to put our stuff on a hold or whatever. But like, I heard Bad Boys 4 is on hold, and this other movie called Cease and Desist, like Lock and Cease and Desist or something like that, something. So 2 or 3 of his projects have been put on hold, which, like, okay, right now, like, he's dealing with shit that makes sense. But I don't think that they've been canceled. And I don't think, and I'm not talking, like, he hasn't been quote-unquote canceled, and it's not like this is the end of his career. I don't think anybody's being like, yo, nobody in Hollywood is going to work with him again. I don't think it's that far. And if it was, it'd be like, fuck all y'all, because this hypocrisy is ridiculous. Mel Gibson is working again. Fucking James Franco, fucking like so many people have like done way worse and still had careers. So like I
don't want to be devil's advocate, but I will though. Like all those names that you mentioned, were they black? Were they black?
Exactly not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly not. But
well, the reason why I think that is because it's and again, we're talking about Hollywood. We're talking about the entertainment industry, and that's a whole other beast within itself. And every now and then throughout time, like we get people from our culture that kind of like, in a way, like maneuver through spaces and almost appear like they just kind of transcend race. Like, I say like Bill Cosby. I mean, even though he's been disgraced and has done a lot of like sickening things. Like, anyways, that we won't even get time to that.
Yeah, for the 80s, he did transcend race. Yeah, he was quote unquote America's dad in the 80s.
Like, period.
All America. Yeah, period. Like, yo,
even the racists will look at him and be like, he's like the exception.
He's one of the good ones. Yeah, like Cosby's the only good one out of all of them.
Right. So I kind of put like, Fresh Prince, as, and when you think about it, like, Cosby Show kind of ended a different world and all that, and then Fresh Prince started popping up. So it's kind of like along the lines of that train. really interesting. And Will Smith, for like, you know, a lot of us, like, you know, he was just that guy, you know what I mean? Like the Fresh Prince, it was like kind of a modern Cosby show. Like when I never even put the two together, but it's pretty much the same.
You're absolutely right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely right.
Yeah. But it's just centered around him, and he was able to like move through and do all these blockbuster hits and yada yada yada. And but now, you know, and I can't help, again, like I hate to like make things like this, but I can't help but to wonder, you know, like if you know Chris Rock wasn't Chris Rock and it was like, say, like a white comedian, and if he did that and you know Will Smith did the exact same thing, would it be the same outcome? Would he have been able to like sit back in his seat and just kind of chill and just almost like I feel like he wanted to like light up a cigar and just, you know, cross his legs and just be like, yeah, blown O's on some like, yo, like can't touch me, you know what I mean? Like untouchable. Like I can't help but to think that if that was the case, I think things would have just stopped. Security might have escorted him out and so on and so forth. Getting a award, like, no, that wouldn't. I don't know. There's just a lot of like interesting energy that it's just, you know, it's worth asking about, questioning. You know, just.
I'm glad you. I wrote about it a couple times and very few people responded, and I just want to put it in words. I agree 1,000,000%. If Will Smith slapped Ricky Gervais, who Ricky Gervais is known to host those shows and is known to say jokes that are really kind of out of pocket on the line, and Will Smith couldn't slap Ricky Gervais in the middle of the pinnacle of white Hollywood self blowjob giving. This is their fucking pinnacle. This is their space. So they're like, yo, y'all like black men brought your black on black violence into our space. That's why so many people were like, how are y'all fucking Amy Schumer's talking like, oh, I've had a month. I'm going to need a month off. I'm so traumatized by this event. It's like, are you fucking joking? By like, are you fucking hypocrisy is disgusting. Like 5 people were murdered on the White House lawn on January 6th. Motherfucker, nobody, like your fake fucking outrage is ridiculous because every single day in American history, there is violence that is not reacted to properly. So get the fuck out of here with y'all. Y'all have shootings all the time.
You know, that is a really good point. Like, you know, when we think of like, you know, I'll just say North American culture in general. I mean, you know, our lands that we're on was founded on violence. Like violence and wars are very continuous and very habitual, you know, from an American context, whether it's abroad or internally. It's habitual, you know. It's like I don't know if there was ever a time where like there wasn't a war, whether it's like internal or external. Like there is always some going on. So what we're seeing now is kind of like a representation of like the general culture, unfortunately, you know what I mean? So it's not, you know, people can't really look at it and call the kettle black. It's like this is America. You feel me? Like it's like this is America.
Dude. Yeah, consciously or subconsciously, you have to be at war. Like you have to, and like you love conflict, and this is how y'all do. So don't give us this bullshit, this fake fucking crocodile tears. Like, oh, how could Will do this? It's whatever. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's not right, but like it's a slap on the face. And somebody put it in an interesting context. They go, for a slap on the face that a teacher would not stop 2 students for at recess. It's like, you know, it actually is kind of near, even though it's not right, but it was kind of near the level of violence that kind of happens on a playground between 2 kids. 2 kids do like wrestle like that and then move on real quick. One will cry and be like, yo, that wasn't right. And then you just move on. It's not like, well, the other kid is getting fucking suspended for 10 years from school for a slap on the face.
Yo, I see Righteous in the chat saying, why isn't the Oscars reprimanded for allowing it to happen and not having Will escorted out? Chris Rock deserves more than an apology from them.
That's
I definitely agree with that for sure. But like I said, you know, that they kind of just didn't even like do anything. They just let him keep on going, and it's like they're like, y'all black folks just figure it out, man. Just carry on with the show, man. You know what I mean? But But you're absolutely right. Like that, it should have been halted and it should have been like dealt with and be like, no, we just not tolerating that. Because letting it go through and then the whole process is subconsciously showing something that it's there's definitely a lot though. There's definitely a lot. But on that note, I want to kind of switch up the vibe a little bit with a throwback video for the Reminisce Show. Miss You Me. I know that they're going to be performing. What was that concert called again?
Get on up.
Get on up, man. All right.
Get on up.
All right, let's see what's going on here. Throwback, yo. Down in Jamaica, they got down in Jamaica, they got so pretty women. And all your money and they break your heart.
I'm a Jamaican, taking charge and living large and big time. Doing for mine, I just barge in your area. Breaking the barrier, making it merrier. You cheer me when you hear me and move your stereo up. When I'm across the front, smoking the mic is high and live. I'm awoken, it's a shame. There's not a day rough like this. When me, she's on this mic, it's not niceness. Those who diminish and pretend, talk behind my back and then approach me as a friend. In the end, you're a phony. It only has to be either you're jealous or you're fans when it ends to me. You see me walk and talk, you make faces.
I wonder if that art still exists.
When I rap, I gave him a wing, cause he was a hunk. More than sex appeal in Jamaican form. I'm Jamaican.
I gotta do that bad too.
Yo, those dances, like when they come through with the backup dancers and the DJ, like it was a movement, man. Oh my goodness. Like,
yo, you used to not be able to get on stage if you didn't have dancers, if you didn't have, if you couldn't dance, you were like, what are you even doing, yo? Like, where's your dancers? You can't dance? Shout out to Heavy D. Heavy D used to be the leader. He could rap, he could sing, he could dance, he could dance hall, anything. Heavy D was a man, he could do it. They used to be able to have to throw down multiple skills in this shit. So, but yo, big up Righteous and Colleen. Y'all are mad right. I love y'all for supporting it. And like when we talk about it, we not to talk about it too much, but like when we talk about it is like trying to talk about progressive thoughts about fixing and healing and solving it on every angle. But like, yeah, straight up. Yeah. Anyways, Miss You Me all day. Miss You Me is up.
Yeah, man. I just had to bring that back real quick, man. Bringing some throwbacks. There's so much like classics that have brought forth, man, in the Toronto scene, man. So we got to show love, man, to the OGs out here, bringing it Jamaican funk, man. Jamaica.
Yeah. So if y'all don't know, that there's going to be a gathering this Saturday at the Phoenix, which is at Sherbourne and Carlton, and it's going to feature Miss You Me, it's going to feature Maestro, it's going to feature Glenn Lewis, it's going to feature Chuck Clare, Julie Black, all of that. Starting from scratch on the turntables. It's going to be celebrating 90s hip-hop and R&B from Canada, which is some of the best stuff in the world. It's not a secret anymore.
So. All right, man. I don't know if you got any flyers, man, any throwbacks, man. Like what you got, man, in the archives. With your like your library.
Yeah. I don't know if I showed this one before. This issue of Rice Magazine. Shout out to my man Carl. I don't know if y'all know Carl. Carl was a Cap. Cap Warren. Cap is a
Come on.
Yo, we should try to get Cap on here one day, yo.
We need to, man. For sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. So yeah.
That's peace, man. That's peace. Okay.
I think Cap used to work at BMG. Yeah.
I remember the BMG street team, man. Like, yo, shout out Kayla, man. K Wonder used to give me all like the sampler cassette tapes and stickers and all of that good stuff, man.
Yeah. Come on. Look what we used to wear.
Come on, let's go.
So yeah, Cap used to do this magazine, Rice, and yo, man, I was like, yo, Rice should blow up to be as big as Vice, yo. I remember thinking that back in the day. So come on, look at them, man. Putting up Mishimi all day, every day. We just play up.
Man, see how it's all interconnected, man. You know what we do.
It's all connected, yeah. So for real, look at that.
Probably 1 year.
Citizen Kane. Yes. So good times in the culture, yo.
Yes.
Yeah. Common Sense up in here. Citizen Kane. Some album reviews. Rakim. Frankenstein. Big up Frankie. OC.
Dope.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Good times.
Salute.
So yeah. Shout out to all. And I'm still trying to figure out the way I want to really show it all to the internet and to the people. But like, this is street team. This is like memes. This is word on the street. This is the buzz, and this is talking to the community before we had the internet. As we keep saying, it's like we're just carrying on tradition, and kids ain't doing much. I mean, it's all digital nowadays, but we were still spreading our truth around, man. Don't act like we didn't have our ways.
Mm-hmm.
The streets were still connected back in the day.
Peace. Non-stop, man. Non-stop.
Word.
I love
I'm being silly, but yeah, it's still real.
No worries. Nah, we came a long way, man. I just love knowing, like, the foundations of Toronto hip hop and how far we've come, man. We're still here, man. It's still going on. There's so much more to cover, and yeah, man, I'm looking forward to bringing forth some guests coming through. I know that Righteous is going to be plugging us in with some exclusives. So we're going to keep the stories going on, man, right here on the Reminisce Show every Tuesday, man, carrying on that tradition of Sankofa, because sometimes we got to go back and get what we may have forgotten, man, in order for us to move forward, man. So some Back to the Future vibes, you know what I mean? Just without the DeLorean, man. We travel with the mind, you know what I mean? We're traveling with the mind right now.
Mental DeLorean, word up. I like that.
Mental DeLorean, let's go, man. Boom.
Yo, word up. Yo, yeah. Logik, I love building with you all the time, brother.
Always,
so,
brother.
Thanks for the jewels. So,
all right, man.
Until the next
everyone coming through.
People, Righteous, Colleen, all our viewers, all our people. We love y'all. See y'all next week, all right?